Hey everybody, if you're here with me, we are going to be working on a new reading lesson. We're going to be reading a passage today and working on a comprehension skill. And this skill is actually one that you're practicing probably right now with Miss Foster Sapp if you're in fourth grade. If not, it is a skill that you guys have talked about at least in your reading class, and that's figurative language. So when we talk about figurative language, those are just phrases that don't mean what they say. They have a different meaning. And one example of figurative language is a simile. A simile is a comparison of two different things using the words like or as. So a good example, it says on her first day of school, Jane was as cool as a cucumber. Now, if I look here, I'm already seeing they're comparing Jane to a cucumber. Now, I know that she's not actually a cucumber, but if I think about cucumbers, I think about them being stored in your fridge and you're eating them on your salad when they're nice and cool. So she must be very cool and relaxed. She's not worried. She's not getting hot from panic. And we can even see that picture. She's just really relaxed. But here they're comparing my girl, Jane, to a cucumber. And they're doing that by using like, or in our case, for this simile, as. So they're comparing Jane using that word as. Now, another example, let's say Jane gets home from her first day of school. She probably is kind of hungry. So Jane is like a lion and devoured her snack. So this is telling me Jane is like a lion and devoured her snack. I'm comparing Jane this time to my lion, and this time I'm using that like instead of as. So when you think about a lion, you think about them eating kind of crazy and wild. So if she's coming home, she must be really hungry if she's ripping apart her snack and shoving it in her mouth probably. So we're going to read a passage today called Princess Penelope, and we're going to be looking for a simile. So I'm going to keep this note sheet out, or actually I'll write our definition on this nice sheet of paper. So we're going to read Princess Penelope, and as we read it, we're going to look for two similes. And we want to remember a simile is a comparison using the words like, that's a key, or as. So if you would, let's just follow along. Princess Penelope. Tonight was the night she had been waiting for. Princess Penelope was head over heels for Prince Patrick, and she had finally persuaded her father to allow her to attend the annual royal ball. She could hardly wait. Upon hearing the news, Penelope had sprinted like a cheetah all the way down to the royal dress shop to pick out the perfect dress. As she searched through the rocks, each dress seemed to shudder with excitement, waiting to be chosen. Glancing around, Penelope's eyes landed on the most beautiful dress ever made. The dress was a sparkling ruby, as it reflected light from every angle. Penelope thought the dress must be the color of Dorothy's slippers. Trying on the dress, Penelope knew it was meant to be worn by her. Now at the ball, her dress swished as she passed the prince. When she turned around, she found his eyes fixed on her like laser beams. So we're going to look here for a comparison that uses like or as. So we're looking for two similes. So I'm going to start from the top, and I'm going to just reread. Tonight was the night she had been waiting for. Princess Penelope was head over heels for Prince Patrick, and she had finally persuaded her father to allow her to attend the royal ball. She could hardly wait upon hearing the news, and I see a simile right here. Penelope had sprinted like a cheetah. So they're comparing Penelope to a cheetah. And let's think about that for a minute. When you think about how a cheetah moves, we normally think about them being very quick, like they can sneak up and catch their prey really fast. And I know that the word sprint is another word like to run. So if they're saying she sprinted like a cheetah, they must be telling me that Penelope ran very fast to the dress shop. And that makes sense. She probably was excited. She could finally go. She had persuaded, probably begged or pleaded, that vocabulary word you guys are learning, her father to go. And once he said yes, she took off like a cheetah to get a dress. So now I've got one simile. So I could put one check, but I gotta find one more. So I'm going to keep skimming and scanning. And I want to see, do I see any of the words like or as? And then I'll have to reread to make sure that I actually have a simile. Oh, I see as here. The dress was a sparkling ruby as it reflected light from every angle. Now, even though that says as, that's not comparing anything in that sentence. It's just talking about the dress sparkling and being like a ruby, and shining the light everywhere. But I don't have a comparison that uses like or as. And I'm going to keep going. I see right down here at the end, and maybe you found it before I did. When she turned around, she found his eyes fixed on her like laser beams. So let's see. The she they're talking about is our princess. So we know they're talking about Penelope. She found his eyes. And if I go back one sentence, it says, now at the ball, her dress swished as she passed the prince. So this his, she turns around and she must find the prince has his eyes fixed on her like laser beams. And here what they're doing is they're comparing the eye and saying his eyes are fixed on her like a laser beam. So we've got to think a little bit about, well, what are laser beams like? And when I think of a laser, I think of something that's very, and even if I draw a picture of it, like let's say this is some kind of flashlight, I think about the laser being very straight and coming out and going in one direction, having that one focus towards one thing. So I'm thinking his eyes, so here's the prince's eye, they must be fixed on or staring straight at the princess. So we can tell he must maybe have something about her that he finds fascinating. He can't look away. So let's do a little bit of practice, because now we found our two similes. The first being she had sprinted like a cheetah, and the second was she found his eyes fixed on her like laser beams. I love those two. Those are really good similes. So here I have the story again, but this time I have some questions. And we're not going to worry about question number 1. So 1, we're not there yet. We'll work on that later on. The passage is here again for us. It says, read the simile in line 4. How did the princess run to the royal dress shop? And remember, I think this is that one we talked about, like the cheetah. So let's find line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it says, sprinted like a cheetah. Now we remember, we figured out cheetahs move fast. So she must have been taken off like a cheetah, get into that dress store. So we have to look at the choices. Did she move sluggishly? Now, even if you don't know what sluggishly means, I see something in here that I do know. It's that word slug. And when I think about a slug, it moves very slow. So sluggishly, that's kind of the opposite of a cheetah. So that doesn't make any sense. Merrily. Now, I can infer that if she's getting to go to the ball and she's running to the store, merrily means like happy. She probably is feeling pretty happy. But that's not asking how did she run when I go back and look at that simile. They use that word cheetah for a reason because when we think of a cheetah, we think of something moving very fast. So I have two choices left: swiftly and despairingly. Now, despairingly means like with lots of despair and sorrow and worry. We kind of already know she's not feeling that. She's feeling pretty happy right now. So we know another word for fast is swiftly. So now let's look at number 3. In line 4, so still using this same simile, the comparison of Penelope to the cheetah using the word like. Which of the following words could best be substituted for the word cheetah without changing the meaning of the simile or the sentence? So guys, basically what we have to do is we have to rewrite this sentence and we got to figure out which word could I substitute. So I'm going to actually start to write it. Let me get a new sheet here, and we're going to see what we can substitute. So if you want, pause the video, and for this part, write down that sentence. Penelope had sprinted like a cheetah. So pause for a second and come back once you have that. Okay, if you're coming back and you're unpaused, we should both have the sentence. Penelope had sprinted like a cheetah. And my K looks a little wonky there. Now what I want to do is they want us to substitute. So see that word cheetah? Cross it out. Because we need to put a substitution, a different word there. But we can't forget, this sentence means that she is moving fast. So that's the meaning. Penelope is moving fast. And that's what we mean about figurative language. She's not actually a cheetah. It just means she's moving fast. It means something else than what the words are actually saying that are written down. So let's look. Could I say Penelope had sprinted like a Olympic runner? I like that because I'm comparing Penelope to the runner. I've got to be comparing two things with my simile. Penelope had sprinted like a quickly. No, the meaning of the sentence needs to mean she moves quickly, but that doesn't compare Penelope to something that moves fast. So far that Olympic runner sounds the best. Penelope had sprinted like a puppy. Well, okay, puppies, when you think of a puppy, you got to think about what comes to mind. They like to play, they like to run around, but I don't think of puppies because they're little babies still. I don't think of them being very fast. Sometimes they're a little clumsy, they're learning how to move around. So if I'm going to compare her to something to show she's fast, I still think that Olympic runner is the best. Because I know if I'm in the Olympics and it's because I'm running, I'm one of the fastest runners in the world. The last one, Penelope had sprinted like a lightning. No, that doesn't even really make sense, like a lightning. So I think the best choice, so let's write our new comparison, a, and we would actually say an now, Olympic runner. And that still lets me know she's got to be really fast. She's an Olympic runner. So this is all that we're going to do today. I just wanted to talk about that figurative language piece, specifically similes. Similes are a type of figurative language. And we learned today similes are comparisons using like or as. And we read today about Princess Penelope, and we had found two similes about her inner story. One, her sprinting like a cheetah and moving fast, and the other, where the prince had his eyes fixed on her like laser beams. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this, not only this video up, and you can watch it however many times that you need to. I'm also going to have on Dojo just a little online activity that you can do on similes. It is completely optional. If you were at the live lesson, you don't even have to worry about anything at all. You don't even have to watch any of the instructional videos. Try to make it back with us on Wednesdays for the live sessions if you can. If not, keep checking back here for more resources, and I will see you guys later.